We're on a journey. This journey begins with a vision for the Innu of Labrador and the frustration of not being heard, not being listened to, and the feeling like meaningful change was out of reach. Until we took a stand and created the Innu Roundtable that centered our voices because Innu people know what Innu people need. At the Innu Roundtable, we were able to voice our concerns and direct where we wanted to go. Our communities have never said we don't need the non-Innu. There are things we can learn from each other. But we're also integrating parts of our history and culture to ensure we do not lose them. This identifies who we are and makes us a strong and proud people like we always were. This is why it's so important that this journey is being led by the Innu. Let me tell you the story of where we've come from and how it changed for the better. There used to be a table called the Main Table. It included representatives from the province and Health Canada, the Labrador Health Secretariat, the chiefs, and Natohish and Sheshi delegates, and the Innu Nation. It was a place where the non-Innu were running the meetings and activities. The Innu people didn't feel like they were being heard or understood. They couldn't express themselves at that table, and it was very frustrating. One day during a meeting, when things weren't going anywhere, they decided to just walk away from the table. That was in 2009. The Innu people said, "This isn't working and there's no point for us to be here." In 2010, the Innu came together because they still wanted healing to happen in our communities. They decided to submit a proposal for another table that would be led by the Innu. In 2012, the proposal was accepted to create a new table called the Innu Roundtable, or IRT. Part of the agreement was to develop healing strategies. With a lot of work and input, the Innu healing strategy was completed in 2014. This strategy drives the work of the Innu Roundtable. Because the Innu Roundtable is Innu-led, the voices of the Innu are at the center. IRT members include the chiefs, the appointed people of each community, Sheshi and Natohish, our federal partners, First Nations Inuit Health Branch, or FINEB, Health Canada, and Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada, or INAC, as well as our provincial partners, the Department of Children, Seniors, and Social Development, CSSD, and the Labrador Grenfell Health, LGH. By keeping Innu voices at the center, Innu explain and define what the Innu need. Innu people know the gaps and things that are missing in our communities. Non-Innu have different experiences and perspectives and have not lived the reality of the Innu. Sometimes there can be misunderstandings. Oftentimes during meetings when things aren't progressing, we need to take time to interpret the Innu point of view. In Innu we would say, Gayashiji. That means don't rush. Under the IRT is the IRT Secretariat, which carries out the work identified by the IRT. The Secretariat manages projects, measures success, supports local initiatives, and helps leadership communicate progress in health and healing. One of the areas where the IRT is most active is the Intergovernment Health and Healing Committee, the Innu Millennium Committee, or the IMC. In this coordinating and supporting role, the IMC oversees the working groups: fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, maternal child health, health information management, mental health and addictions, and diabetes. Each working group has an action plan to help them move toward recommendations from the Innu Healing Strategy. The working groups include a diversity of people that represent both communities: primary health, social health, health directors, and education. The non-Innu partners are there to bring in their expertise and connect the Innu with the right people to navigate through the provincial and federal channels. Being able to sit at the same table also helps to build relationships so there are no barriers. How we carry out our work is as important as the outcomes of the work. For example, it's important that the planning and work of the IRT revolves around the seasons, because that's how we always live. The Innu people have always been a nomadic people. We didn't stay in a place too long. We were always on the move, and our life revolved around the seasons. We've never looked at our time like the non-Innu. We've never looked at the months of the year. Instead, we think in seasons. Another important way that we work together is to support one another to build our capacity. This takes the pressure of one person. A lot of the working groups have co-chairs. When I first came to this work, I didn't have any experience being in meetings. I was very quickly asked to chair the group. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and I was terrified. I wanted to quit my job. That's how much I didn't want to be a chair. I asked myself the question, what did chairing look like for our grandparents, to my ancestors? What came to mind is an image of a canoe. The person in the back who's navigating the canoe determines if we go to the left or the right. He's not the one putting all the manpower into moving the canoe forward. There's another person that helps him, but he's the one who determines where we go and how to move the canoe along and avoid obstacles. That's how I visualized it. Innu people were chairing for thousands of years, but it looked different. We've always supported one another in our different roles. I knew I could do this with the help of my ancestors. The Innu Round Table is like a person. The IRT is at the head. This is where the thought process happens. They can come together to help navigate and build relationships with the provincial and federal partners. The IRT is the chairing process. Then there is the body, the IMC. The body is attached to all. The IMC, the working groups. It is also led by the Innu Healing Strategy. The voices, concerns, and recommendations from the communities are at the heart. We are moving forward much like we always have done.